From Friday night's downtown shooting to police body cameras to Walter Scott to why he thinks drones are needed in South Carolina, I sat down one-on-one with State Representative Wendell Gilliard for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. Well, Representative Wendell Gilliard, let's start off with some developing news. Just a few blocks away from here, a shooting took place on Friday night near American Mary Streets. Two people were shot.
Yes.
One of the people who were actually shot were a 5-year-old Tyreek Gadsden.
Yes, yes.
I understand you visited him in the hospital recently.
Yes, I did. Just saw him, and believe me, I hope everybody keep the Gadsdens in their prayers. Young Tyreek Gadsden, that's his name.
Right.
5-year-old young lad.
Heading to a birthday party.
Heading to a birthday party. You know, when I first visited the family, I first was introduced to the grandmother on the east side. As you well know, I'm a product of the east
That's
side.
right.
I was raised on the east side.
Right. Harris Street.
And, 69 Harris Street. So anything that happens in the area while I was born is always near and dear to me. But the first thing I would tell you, the people on the east side, great people, caring people. They look out for one another. No matter what you might hear in the news that's negative, I know about the positive, like many other people who's raised on the east side. And there are some great people on the east side who care about their community, and especially children.
Yeah.
You know, and here we are in this most unfortunate case. You know, for too many times, I know what we found out in our research on the east side, believe it or not, you have a lot of outside people coming in, bringing corruption, and putting that stigma that should not be there on the east side. But nevertheless, we want you to keep the family in your prayers, and we're trying to encourage anybody that might have seen something. This is the time now to come forward.
You say not to be quiet.
This is not the time to be quiet. You know, we have to talk up, because what we learn in working with our law enforcement, when we come forward, then and only then we can make a change in our community, working hand in hand with our law enforcement. Okay? Just like I always tell people, you know, one bad apple, one citizen in a community doesn't account for the whole community. And one officer doesn't count for the whole police force. You know, we must weed these negative people out at any cost, especially at any given time. Okay? But we must learn to work together, because the ultimate 911 call, no fella's going to answer it. Okay? Let's get that straight. It'll be a person that's sworn to protect and to serve. So if that person is not doing that, then we need to weed those people out. Those people who are bad for our communities. Okay? So that, I mean, that's just the realization of it all. Okay? But getting back to the family, we would hope as to organize the community, as to organize an effort out there to at least have a fundraiser for the young man to help him pay for his medical expenses. So in the upcoming days, we'll be giving an address. We're going to open up an account, the family will, in the young man's name. But more importantly, we want you to keep him in prayer. 5 years. And you know, when I went in the hospital and I engaged him in a conversation, and all he could do is squeeze my hand and smile. You know the old saying, you know the old Bible saying, suffer that the children come unto me. Theirs is the kingdom of God. You see, it's like when you read about this tragedy, this infamous act, you know, you don't ever want to engage children. So somebody knows something out there, and we want to encourage them to come forward. Okay.
Speaking of working together, let's talk about something that you have done for many, many years. And we were talking about this over the phone on Friday, and that's Project Cool Breeze.
Yes, we're in our 16th year of Project Cool Breeze. I like the way you switch the channels, because we need some light part of our lives to talk about. And what better project to talk about is Project Cool Breeze. We're definitely in our 16th year, and believe it or not, we had a fantastic kickoff. Standing room only. And you know who made a surprise visit?
Who is this?
Miss Rogers from C&D.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the Charleston Development Academy. She came and brought the students. And it was just awesome. It was very heartfelt to see her, because you know she was somewhat had a setback. But now, if you look at Miss Rogers, she's vibrant. She's smiling again. She's back. And she came up to surprise us. But the kickoff was beautiful. We have a lot of people that showed up. A lot of our sponsors came out.
Yeah.
Jason brought his people from Lowe's.
Right.
As you know, they're one of the main sponsors.
Right.
All the channels came out. We had Terry Bass from Cumulus. We had Gino from Apex radio station. It was just awesome, I'm telling you. And we're very proud of being here for 16 years, helping thousands upon thousands of senior citizens. And we want to encourage any and everybody, if you know of any senior, as you well know, we're going into the hot summer months. Yes. It's going to be hot again.
Like today.
Yes. You have to dial that number. 720-1987 is the number to call. For those of you who want to make donation, that's the number to call. If you want to send a check, you make the check out to the city of Charleston and Care Project Cool Breeze, and you mail it to 116 Meeting Street Road. The zip code is 29401.
And you touched on this earlier, but the key word, 16 years.
16 years is a long time.
Tell me, where are you emotionally?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at my archives, and you look at the seniors that we've helped and touched along the way, it's just heartfelt. And all the wonderful volunteers, you know, and we are dedicating this year's effort to Carolyn Brown, the director of Weed and Seed. Yes, because Carolyn is coming around again, you know, and she had somewhat of a small setback, but we've been praying for her, and she's on the way back.
That's
so
awesome.
We've got all good news for Project Cool Breeze.
Yes.
First we saw Ms. Rogers come out. Now we're dedicating this year's effort to Carolyn Brown.
Yes.
Because she's been the nucleus of Project Cool Breeze. And so we're very grateful for that, and we want her to know that it's an honor that Kevin Gass from Coca-Cola, he's been a cornerstone for Project Cool Breeze. We decided to butt heads together as to make this year's a success. We want to do it in Carolyn Brown honor for all the wonderful work that she's done.
And speaking of work, you have been in Columbia recently doing a lot of projects, that is, working with a lot of lawmakers, and including this criminal domestic violence bill. Tell me, where was your mind on that day when it was passed in the House?
Well, I was very elated. You know, it's a tug of war at this point. And I hope when it comes in the Senate now, it would have happened. If we can approve it, it'll go to the governor's desk. It goes to the governor's desk, and hopefully she'll sign it. But as you well know, if she vetoes anything, then it takes 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate to override her. And I know we have the votes to do that, but I would hope and pray that she does not do that, because as a governor, if she does that, then she'll send the wrong message out to the state of South Carolina, knowing where we're at on the total whole when it comes to domestic violence. It's about time we took this issue serious. This is way overdue, way overdue.
And speaking of something serious, let's talk about your baby. I don't want to really call it a baby, but it's the police body camera bill.
Yes.
That was passed in the House.
Yes.
I'm wondering, where are you emotionally with that?
Well, you know, I'm on a high, really, because you got to remember, you know, I introduced this bill a year and a half ago.
And you were saying that people thought you were crazy at the time.
They thought I was just outright crazy to even talk about this type of technology as to use it for a crime-fighting tool. But as anybody would, you do your research first.
And
as you well know, I served 10 years on city council. And back then, believe it or not, and Mayor Riley will tell you, and other people on council, because if it were not for them, I would have never passed that ordinance as to use surveillance cameras in high crime areas. They thought I was crazy then. But guess what? We're doing it now in the city of Charleston. So when I took the technology, by virtue of the technology, we move now, and I always tell people, the body's cameras will take you where the dash cameras can't. You see, because I've always had one saying, cameras don't lie. Okay? Cameras don't lie.
That is true.
So here we are, and you have to understand technology. It's outpacing regulations and laws. Technology is on the fast track, and we have to keep up with it. Now, and since we're talking about my pet peeve, I would also advise the audience out there, guess what's next on my plate?
What's that?
Drones. We will be using drones as the same way we use body cameras to help fight crime in the state of South Carolina. Did you know that there are 5 states, by virtue of that technology, they have already petitioned local law enforcement in 5 other states. They've already petitioned federal governments to start using drones as a crime-fighting tool. I'm all for that too, and I think it's You know, and I'm talking to the Speaker of the House, Mr. J.D. Lucas, wonderful guy.
He is.
Wonderful guy. You know, he's a visionary like me. And you know, we get along on both sides of the fence.
Sure.
So I always give him his kudos.
Sure.
You know, I work with good people like Representative Mack,
Oh, yes.
Representative Whooper.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, these guys are just, and Representative Williams
Yes.
are fantastic.
Sure.
You say Gilda Cobb Hunter,
Oh,
I
yes.
could go the whole slate on.
Yeah.
Representative Gilda Cobb Hunter, wonderful lady, wonderful lady, great representative.
But
Yes.
when did you come to the conclusion that drones would help in a criminal situation?
Well, once again, I love to study technology. Technology, and I have to reiterate this, it's on a fast track. Anytime you could use technology as a crime-fighting tool, then you're doing your job. Because that technology is going to help our law enforcement, it's going to make our private citizens more secure in their respective communities. You see what I'm saying? We have to keep pace with this type of technology.
Okay.
You know, because it's out there. Why not use it? You talk about taking a bite out of crime.
Right.
I mean, this is a giant step in doing that.
Okay.
That's what I always tell people.
But this is South Carolina.
This
you
is
said
South
you are a
Carolina.
visionary.
Yes.
Do you visualize this being passed in the House and the Senate?
Yes.
How
You
so?
know why? Because when we look at where we are when it comes to crime, statistics,
Yeah.
I intertwine that type of crime with domestic violence. You see what I'm saying? I mean, to be first or second in the country,
Sure.
when it comes to domestic violence, is not good. So we have to, by any means necessary, use the technology that would help our state shine before others. You know, to help our citizens when it comes to all sorts of crime, including domestic violence, especially domestic violence. Yes,
Describe to me the following in one word: the Walter Scott case.
it's a tragedy. It was a tragedy, and our condolences goes out. As you well know, we brought Reverend Jackson
Right.
in. Al Sharpton came in.
Right.
And I respect those great civil rights leaders, and I don't care what people might say about them. They have paved the way for these type of incidents not to happen, not only in the state of South Carolina, but throughout the whole world. How fast we forget. You know, my father always taught me when people pave the way so blacks, white, Jews, and Gentiles can get along,
Yes.
those are the people we need to connect to. Here you have Reverend Jackson, Rainbow Push. People united to save humanity. People of all colors. Here you have Al Sharpton preaching about love, unity, and respect. You see Elder Johnson. Now he works with the National Action Network.
Right.
And I'm very proud that Al Sharpton has appointed him in a hierarchy position. Then you have our great Nelson Rivers.
Oh, yes.
You know, he's doing his job.
Right.
With the National Action Network. We should be proud of that. We should be proud of the pastors we have here in the state of South Carolina. And I know a lot of great pastors.
Sure.
Dr. Willie Gibbons.
Right.
And I look up to him as a father.
Oh, good.
And he's helped thousands upon thousands of people. You know, you have Reverend Robbins.
Oh, yeah.
Retired now. I always tell him he's not retired
Okay.
from Mariah.
Right.
But now you have Reverend Goss in his place.
Sure.
See, these two guys, these two gentlemen are doing a great job in the name of the Lord. And I think we all ought to appreciate. You got Reverend Hope, you know, Reverend Sally,
Oh, yes.
Reverend Ed McLean.
Right.
See, I can sit here all day and run the list.
McKinley Washington.
Oh yes, McKinley. Now I always call them the senator's people. Now, even though McKinley Washington is retired,
Right.
but I always refer to him as the senator's people, the people's senators.
Yeah, that's good.
Both ways is good. But
Yes.
he is a great gentleman, a great leader.
That's awesome.
Yes. We're blessed in South Carolina to have great leaders.
Sure.
We have Christine Jackson here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the first cousin of the late, great Coretta Scott King.
Yeah.
We should all be proud.
Okay.
You know, I mean, Charleston is just saturated with wonderful people with an awesome history. We all ought to be proud of that.
Speaking of
Yes.
Charleston, now that you're not becoming the mayor of Charleston,
Yes.
who will you endorse?
I will be endorsing somebody, but not right now.
Okay.
And I think because, and you have to do this, you know, I believe in democracy.
Okay.
Our ancestors have paved the way through blood, sweat, and tears. Don't ever let nobody stop you from being part of any election. We all ought to be out there vocal. We've been endowed with that. We've been inspirited by our ancestors to get engaged, get involved. And no matter the chumps and the licks people and the rumors people might slap in your face, as long as you're engaged, you're respecting your ancestors. For every lynching, for every shooting, every murder, you want to call it, the only way you're going to try to rectify that and make your ancestors proud of you so their efforts would not have been in vain, you must get engaged. You must register people to vote. You must talk politics at the right time. You must let people know what line you're on, what line you're drawn on. Don't be quiet. When it comes to politics, and like Dr. King once said, silence sometimes is deadly. So for you not to engage, for you not to call the ball and say, oh, I'm not going to tell you who I'm voting for, that's not good, okay? Because when you look at the statistic, we have people that are dropping off, not participating, not voting, not registering. You got me? And it's a huge problem here in South Carolina and around the country.
Some of them just come out for presidential elections.
And that's all.
And so how are you going to help make certain that that improves?
By communicating, by creating dialogue, by having symposiums, by registering people to vote.
Yes.
And not only register them, but encourage them to use the voting process at any levels of vote, whether it's city, county, state, federal. Engage. We need to engage at all levels when it comes time, appropriate time to vote.
Well, this is a great dialogue.
Oh, with you, it's always great, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And everybody's still talking in the State House, a bunch of resolution. They thought the right man got it. You deserve it. And every time I get a chance to brag about it, I'm going to do it.
Thank you.
That's
I really
right.
appreciate
You
that.
deserve that. That's a high honor, and you deserve it.
Thank you. God is good.
Amen. He sure is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Representative Wendell Gilliard, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Best wishes.
Likewise.
All right.